Welcome to this week's edition of the Belau Report. I'm Jane Belau. Our guest, Joe Powers, CEO of the Powers Ventures and all-time contributor to the Rochester economy.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate being invited here. I've been here before, and we've known each other forever.
We have.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has been about the veterans, which we celebrated Saturday at the International Event Center as a guest of the Powers family.
So it was our 16th year, actually, that we had that celebration. It's a breakfast that we started. Great group of volunteers, of veterans. They actually came to see our organization. Honestly, it's quite easy. They set the tables up. They take care of the buffets. We supply the food. It's incredible what they do. They break down the whole room, clean the room up. So it's a whole group of people. I put a shout out to Wayne Stillman. Wayne, he's one of the founders of the Soldiers Field Memorial, and
he is a remarkable man.
A remarkable human being, and Korean War vet, and he's still kicking, still going. There's folks like Terry Tronson. He's a Vietnam vet. He's very much involved in the event. Rich Daly, Vietnam vet, very much involved in the event. We have World War II people there that show up, as you know. It was awesome. You came in, did one of your incredible poems, and what you've been doing. Every year you've showed up to the event, usually play the piano too. It's a great event, and I ran into a young gentleman that served in one of the recent conflicts that we've had. And that was the first time he's ever been there, and he said it was extremely moving for him, and it helped him. And that's why we have it. And if anybody's listening, get young people there. That's what we need. And it's a free breakfast. And by the way, everybody's probably knows somebody even that's been a veteran. Anybody's welcome. My brother was a veteran. He lives in the cities. I asked him to come down one year. He's made it several times. He's come back and went to it. He really enjoys it. It's about an hour and a half, 2-hour program, as you know. But it's the camaraderie, getting to see people. My father was a Korean War vet. We probably have 20, 25 Korean War vets. These guys are all getting to be between 85 and probably 94 years old. And I love seeing those guys, and I know them all, and spending time with them. It's incredible stories. We don't talk about war. We talk about life, where they are in life now and how they're doing. And just a fun event. The mayor was there, addressed the audience, did a fantastic job. She has a long history, her family, long history of people in the military. Carla Nelson did the address to the entire group. Her family, I had no idea of that. Almost every single conflict we've ever been in our country, her family has participated in one way or another. Back to the beginning of our nation. She had some incredible stories to tell. So it's like that that you get to learn about it, but give thanks probably more than anything else. Yeah. And for our company, it's literally the most unselfish group, and this group is incredible, the veterans. I mean, you literally sign the dotted line and sign your life away. They own you 24/7. They can send you anywhere, do anything they want. It's incredible what they do for us and protecting us each and every day. Let's just think about right now and where our nation is right now. And, you know, we got the Middle East conflict going on. We have an Iran conflict going on. We got a China conflict going on. We've got a Ukraine and Russia conflict going on. And it's kind of nice sitting in America. We're free. And yet we have the strongest and the best military and the most well-educated and well-trained military in the world. And I think that's what keeps us protected and why we're where we're at.
Yeah.
So thank God we have the men and women that serve our armed forces.
Well, allow me to thank you for your family and their contribution to this annual event, because it has been tremendous.
Thank you. I actually had my grandchildren show up. I had a couple little ones. I don't think they understand what's it all about, but they'll get it over time. But a couple of them came out and helped us this year. And my children show up, and I have different relatives that come out. What is really amazing is there's about 15 people that have been a part of this thing every single year on the volunteering side that have showed up every single year. I'm amazed at that. But we have fun. I mean, we make it fun. And our staff has fun with it. I mean, they really do. They enjoy it. So it's a joyous day in regards to just giving thanks more than anything. I think that's, so next year, put it on your calendar. Come out and watch the program. We have enough room. We have about 700 to 800 seats, and we can create more chairs out of it. We've had years, we've probably had 1,000 people there. You know, and some people come, they eat breakfast, don't have a lot of time. They might be going to other events too, and they've got to leave. But it's really a well-done program, very well done.
You know, now they're having problems recruiting. And what can we do to generate enthusiasm from the up-and-coming heroes of our men and women?
Yeah, you know, I will say one thing that, you know, it is a huge sacrifice to make, but at the same hand, if you're a young person and you're really, you know, having a struggle trying to figure out what you want to do in life, there is some incredible opportunities there. You know, people, they talk about the amount of debt they have when they come out of college, the opportunity to come out of the military and you have zero debt for college, and you can also get quite a bit of your education done while you're in the military. The training itself, and just, you know, I had a brother that went into the military right out of high school, and I think, well, I've heard him say it, it was one of the best things that ever happened to him, because he needed it at that point in his life. He needed the discipline, he needed the training, and he's had a very, very successful career. And I think he would say that came from the Navy. And he did his stint in the Navy, and then he came out and he was in the National Guard for the Navy too for a long time. In fact, I think he just retired about 4 years ago, so he had a long stint in it.
Wow. Well, for all the grandparents and parents and young people in school, that's good news.
It is, and I think that, you know, everything goes in cycles, and I think we'll have a day and age where people will come back to it. We had a huge flood of support after 9/11. It's sad to say, but let's hope it doesn't take a tragedy to to get our recruiting back on track.
Okay, well, talk about needing people. I understand that the mayor's race may be an open opportunity, and your name has come up every time since you've been an adult.
Yeah. So, you know, my father was on the city council for many years, and I think he was a very good council person. And I think he got a lot of things done in this community. The mayor's position is always really, I've always had an interest in it because of people like Chuck Azama. I mean, I really got to know him well, and he really got me involved in the community itself. I don't think I'd have my community involvement without people like him, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of great mayors in this community. In fact, I can't say we've had a bad mayor in this community. I think they all really cared about Rochester and truly do care about Rochester. So it's something that's been on my mind for a long time. I'm going to very much consider it on the next election, in the next cycle around. And, you know, it might be a new time for me to turn the page in what I've been doing my whole life. You know, starting as a dishwasher, and maybe it's time to hang up the hospitality business, and which is so difficult for me because I really do love it. But maybe I don't have to do that, and I could still do that and be a part of the city, but I'm pretty much all in when it happens. You know, if I was to run for it, I would be all in. And you know, as much as everybody thinks it's a weak mayor system, it isn't a weak mayor system. There is still a lot of strength to that position. Public safety is very, very important to me. Lose public safety within your community and you have nothing. And I can show you many communities throughout this country right now that have lost it. They have depletion of population. They have utter chaos within their community itself, and it's sad. And it affects all cultures. And there is no discrimination to it when it happens. It just affects so many different people and all ages and everything else. So the last thing I want to see is that happen, and the mayor is very involved on the public safety side. So I would say it is something I'm very interested in.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Now, the most recent article, other than about the Veterans Day and thanking the Powers family effusively, is the property that you're developing. And what drew you to the Bierman House?
So the Bierman House came about when the fact that the county was looking at actually tearing it down, and honestly, I think they just lost their energy for it. They didn't have any funding sources for it. It came from years and years of history of, quite frankly, just you know, it was given to the county. There was some grant money that they took early when it was first given to them to redo it, and then it was used primarily, whoever ran the history center would live in it. Well, then, you know, normally speaking, then all of a sudden you hire a local and they have a home in town and they're not interested in moving into, quite frankly, it was a very old home. And it had some challenges to it, but it was a history piece, no doubt about it. Unfortunately, it stayed empty for so long, and the pipes broke, and they had water problems, and then it was about 25 years of just sitting empty.
Wow.
All the water went through it, and it had foundation problems, and it just, I can't believe it stood, to tell you the honest God truth. I had engineers look at it and everything, and they couldn't believe it. It sits on a concrete slab. There is no footings to that house or nothing. So there's some challenges to taking that on. I knew that going in. Honestly, the process working with the Olmsted County was very good. There's a lot of misinformation out there, but I'll have well over $1 million into this. So it hasn't been fun. in regards to spending money and the amount of money we got on it. Everybody thinks I got it for free. I did not. Obviously, I'm putting a tremendous amount of money into it to save a home that is, quite frankly, would have been completely destroyed. So we've structurally had to do tremendous amount of work to it, and it's really going to be neat. The outside will look identical to the original, and I had to take down the tower. The reason I had to take down the tower, it was going to collapse. So they had to restructure the entire column. The tower will be done the same way. The problem with the brick is the brick that was done back in that day and age is so soft. So I could take a brick, and if I rubbed it against something, I could literally just almost break it. So we had to find the same type of brick, but we had to strengthen the brick itself. Yeah. So we took down the tower that was up there because that was the most unique part of it, and restructure the whole thing. And so that came with a very high expense. We worked with O'Connor Masonry. O'Connor's been around this community forever. I think I'm on third generation O'Connor right now. Sean O'Connor's doing the work. I've known the family for a long time. They've done a lot of great things in this community also. They had the boxing gym. Helped out a lot of young kids in their youth way back in the day. And so they're doing fantastic work on that. But the outside will look original. Mayo's been great to work with. They're the neighbor, so obviously we're interrupting a lot of things going on over there. And the mansion's right up the road. There's a long history with the Mayo family being a part of this house. And ironically, it's called the Bierman House because Adolf Bierman lived in the house, and Charlie and Edith Mayo bought the home and the land in that area from Adolf Bierman, but he never built the home. The home was built by John Harmon, was his name, but the name of the house has always been called the Bierman House. But most people don't know that he never built it. John Harmon did. But Bierman lived there the longest, and Bierman was a statesman. He actually was like the state auditor. At one time he ran for governor. He actually almost won. He was very much involved in state government, and pretty influential person within the state. But Charlie bought the property from him. I think it was about 40 acres total. And then that started the entire Charlie Mayo and Edith Mayo estate. And then in the end, it was over 3,000 acres they owned. Wow. They owned land all the way up to the country club golf course. And it was quite a swath of land. In fact, we've tried to take maps and figure it out. Me and a good friend of mine who's an historian here in town, Dana Kanak. And we've tried to figure it out. We've got a pretty good idea. Stephen and Sandy Quenvold, they have a Mayo farm. And if you look at the distance between the Mayowood Stone Barn, which we own, and where their farm is, it's quite a distance. I mean, as the crow flies, it's probably 3 miles. As you drive, it's way farther than that. But my point to it is they had quite a swath of property out there. But this home in this area started the whole thing. So it's a very historic property. It's on the National Historical Register. But my intention to the whole thing is, I mean, obviously, I got to bring it up to code. The inside will not look like it did before. You can't. I need to have the steps before. If I keep lifting weights, I wouldn't be able to get up the steps. I couldn't get my shoulders through the steps. They were that narrow. They're about that wide. I mean, it was like literally 2.5, 3 feet wide. Just everything in it, very small rooms everywhere. Talking to historians, they want us to keep the plaster. The place was completely full of mold. all the way around. So we had to take all the plaster out. We had to take everything out. The other reason we had to take everything out is the footings and everything the place is going to fall over. So I had to put all new joists, everything in there. We have steel inside this now. We have steel joists all inside the home. Obviously, structural engineering was a big part of keeping and trying to save the home. So the inside will not look like the original. It was impossible to do. But the outside will look original. And our intention is to do at some point an open house and have people out. But we're not quite there, and we're close. And in fact, they poured our driveway yesterday, and so the outside should be done. I told them they got to get it done in the next 2 weeks because this weather is just incredible we're having right now for November. So I hope to get the outside done, and then the inside, we're at the point now where we can start sheetrocking and get going on that.
What kind of a facility will it be when it's complete?
So that was the other thing. At one point I looked at, I actually thought about living there, but I gotta kind of be realistic. I'm not an old man by any, but if I'm gonna put that kind of money in there, I gotta spend the rest of my life, and then I can't be having 3 floors, because it's 3 floors. The other thing is, there's some other challenges to the space. So it was actually my son that came up with the idea, and we're making it into a corporate office. So it'll be, we'll be moving our marketing people, our marketing person in there. We'll be moving some of our technical people. We'll be moving in there. I'll be moving in there. I've been in the basement of the honker for 39 years. I've looked at a wall. I've never had a window in an office. This is going to be amazing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. And my son's only lived with that for like 15 years or maybe 10 years. But I've had it my whole life. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle him. But me and him are going to move in there for sure. My daughter will be spending time because she takes care of the stone barn. And obviously the climate's not the greatest down there because that's an old building too. And you get quite cold. So we'll have some different people going in and out of there, but at any given time, the maximum we'll probably have at the facility is 6 or 7 people. So it's not going to be a lot of people.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But think of what you've done for the property.
Yeah. So that was the whole thing, and the intention is like, if I'm going to commit to it, I'm going to finish it. I knew that taking it on. I was very, very concerned about taking on this project and then not doing it. And honestly, I was worried about it collapsing. I literally brought one structural engineer out there. They are very busy people right now, especially in Rochester, with all the work Mayo has going on. I brought one out there and they said, I'm sorry, we're too busy. But he more or less told me it's too much work for them. Meaning like, this is gonna cost you a fortune. We're not interested in it. So I struggled in finding the right crew. I actually hired TLS companies here in town. They had a couple individuals that worked for them that had some history of working on historical properties.
Oh, great.
And that really made a significant difference. They had pride. They got the foreman that's on the job out there, Jake. He has a history. He's a Rochester kid. He has a history of that area. He grew up in that area. So that really, really helped. And what I mean by that is that, if you can find somebody that really, really is into it, that makes a significant difference. And so we were lucky to fall into what we got. I had a friend of mine that he's done old homes before. I brought him out. He just said it was too much for him. He couldn't do a project like that. So I was lucky to get the people I got.
All right, now with your business ventures, you've now moved into downtown Rochester. How is that going?
It's going really, really well. Obviously, the challenge of Rochester downtown is the change of the downtown has been the change of Mayo and pulling out and having a lot of their people work from home. I've always said that I'm not in the business to tell Mayo how to run their business. A, they've been doing it a lot longer than I have. B, I know nothing about the medical field. And C, they're very good at what they do. But in saying that, it has affected the downtown. There's no doubt about it. We don't have the traffic that we had before. Mayo or the downtown's always been, kind of goes through a little slope. You go down, and then all of a sudden it comes up, and then it'll go down. I mean, me and you've been here forever. We've watched this. The downtown's gone through a lot of different patterns over all the year. You remember before the BGD 5 project, it was dead, the downtown. And then, Gus Chapolia spent all that money on that project, and it brought it right back. I mean, the downtown came right back. And honestly, I think the effort of the RDA when it first started, and the work of the city council back then, and I think the work of a lot of the folks in the downtown itself, that was probably at the prime. I think that was the biggest. I'd probably put that around the early 2000s, between 2000 and probably 2015 was probably the prime of the downtown. And COVID changed everything, let's face it. I mean, that was just like the game changer.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of waiting for the uptick right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But we've had some really, really promising months where we said, wow, okay, this looks really good. Like things are starting to really, really come back. And of course, the activity at the Civic Center really helps. And they're getting more and more concerts and more things going on there. And just more and more entertainment in the downtown helps.
Yeah.
So it's going well. We're happy where we're at.
What can our viewers do to help you help us?
Well, come downtown. That's the best thing that can help the retailers downtown this Christmas season. Come downtown and shop downtown.
Yeah.
And shop local, period. I mean, just try to do that the best you can. Retail really needs it. I know everybody shops online, but maybe just do less of that. Really try to help out the local retailer. It makes a significant difference for them, each and every one of them. These people live here, and it can make a big difference to your community.
Now, besides the Honker, which is out by St. Mary's,
Yep.
you have the downtown restaurant. And where is that exactly? I've been there, and the food's great.
Yeah, we're across from the old city hall. We're on First Avenue. It's a former Dooley site, and we're right next to the parking ramp on First Avenue. It's easy parking.
Good.
You can get in and out right now. 2-hour free parking in the ramps, which is really, really nice. It's easy to find, we're really, really happy with it. And of course, we purchased the Hubble House 3 years ago, and that's doing really, really well too. We're very, very happy about that. That's a little bit of a drive, but that's the old steakhouse. It's the old supper club.
That's right.
And it's doing really, really well.
And that food is good too.
Very good, very good. Yeah.
All right, now, what's your advice to young people growing up in this community with good schools all through college now? What kind of advice do you have for them?
Well, first off, I always tell young people when I talk to them and I meet with them, and I've met with I've talked to all the high schools before about, entrepreneurship. Understand your field you're interested in going in. The reason you do that is you might not have an interest in it after you get into it, meaning like if you were interested in being in the coffee shop business, you might work in the coffee shop business and think, I don't really want to do this. Or you might think, wow, I really enjoy this. And at that point, then you got to learn the trade. It's very tough to go to school and learn the actual trade itself. It's also very hard to learn how to work. I always tell people, if you're sitting down at work all the time, that's not really a good practice to start at, because you got to learn how to work. I'm fortunate in my life. I always was physically involved in my job, and I had to work hard, and I think it really paid dividends for me. And so I would say, try to find whatever practice and whatever you want to be an entrepreneur at, work it for a while, figure out the trade itself, and really hone in on how you want to do it before you ever get involved in it. I think people are kind of down on the fact that, you need a lot of money to get started and all those types of things. Don't think so big. Maybe start small. I mean, honestly, if I had to get started in a landscaping business, first off, I'd go to school for it. Second off, I'd probably go to work for a landscaping company. Third, I'd probably either work with myself or one other person when I did start my business, and I'd start very small, and I'd grow from there. And I think the same thing about every business you think. At times, I think people just think too big, and they want to get the dollar quickly. It's a nice thought, but it normally doesn't work. And it's a good way to go broke quick.
Yeah.
So I would suggest to be more patient.
Thank you for those words.
Thank you.
From a pillar of our community, and good luck with whatever you choose to do about the mayor. That would
Thank
be
you.
great. But thank you for all the Powers Family Ventures have done for this community.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay.
Always enjoy it.
Thank you, our viewers, for watching our program. We'll be with you again next week, same time, same channel. Have a very good week and a very good night.